thank you for watching The Forum. I'm your host, Ashlee Tate, here with my co-host, Christy Largent, and today we are speaking with Living Hope Ministries, Mike Maharo. He's the Executive Director, and I am so excited to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, ladies. Appreciate it.
Another great outreach here in Northern California that we've never heard of until today. So why don't you tell us, where did the idea for Living Hope come from, Mike?
Well, Living Hope actually started 20 years ago, just as an offshoot of the Nazarene Church. And we were trying to figure out how to help with a lot of the low-income families that were in town. And it basically started off with a hot plate and a couple of volunteers, and they were just kind of meeting with folks and trying to explore the needs. I think of trying to figure out the ebb and flow of the community and what the needs were, and from there they progressed into doing the various things that even we're doing now. So
what are you? How did you get involved in that?
I was actually wanting to give back to the community. I was running a company in town, and I was experimenting with different nonprofits in town, so I started going to a bunch of different places and kind of just asking people like, hey, what do you think about this place, and asking the consumers. And ran into this place called Living Hope, and I actually never walked into the place. I just sat outside for a while and asked people like, what's going on in there? And they're like, oh, these people are great people. They love you. They take care of you. And so I decided to invest one day a week. I closed my business for one day and started hanging out down there. And there it goes.
So what do you guys do? What all is Living Hope?
Well, we do a lot of different things. One of the things that we do is we started the first food co-op on the West Coast, which is very different than a food pantry. We basically have all our participants from the food co-ops come in, and they have different roles. So for example, they are sorting the food, unloading the trucks, investing in it, and building community. It's very, very different than a typical pantry where you come in and a bag's handed to you and you're on your way. A lot of these folks, we invest in them, and we actually offer job training and a lot of additional things. It becomes a platform for us to be able to figure out how we invest in them and just asking them questions. So
kind of a mentoring program as well as helping them out with what they might need as far as food goes. Yeah,
the food's kind of just the beginning. Right. So what happens is they come in needing food, and then we try to figure out, well, what are the things that are causing you to need food? How can we help you not need us anymore, so to speak. So we kind of dig and we invest, and not just with them, but in their families, and it's pretty different and amazing.
So how do they qualify to be part of that program and use the co-op?
Well, we don't do like criteria like some of the other agencies do. We just say, hey, if you need food, then come on in. And we've never really seen anybody pull up in a Ferrari and say, hey, let's see if I can get some food. So the folks that come in, they're in need, and there's a waiting list. So they've been waiting for a while. There's a significant waiting list. So
so do they have to pay to be a part of this co-op? Or how
they
does
do.
That work?
It's a membership, and so people come in and they're on a waiting list for a while, and then we do an orientation, and then what happens is they pay $5 a membership fee for a month. And so those folks that kind of begin with, so they pay their $5 membership fee, and it's kind of like Costco where they come in and they're not getting the food, they're just getting the membership, and the money pays for gas and different things that we will use the money for to go pick up food from various churches, and Trader Joe supports us as well. And so we'll go. So then the folks come in, and since we're a faith-based nonprofit, we have a time of devotion, we have breakfast, and we hang out together, and the folks get to just kind of see each other. They haven't seen each other for a while, and so they build relationships. People that were walking meet somebody that has a car, and then the next thing you know, they're carpooling. And so then they come in, and we do a time of devotion, which isn't required, but we've never really had anybody say we don't want to be part of that. But we don't want to discriminate or push our beliefs on anybody, so we find ways to say, if you don't want to do this, we'll still work out the food for you. But so the folks come in, and they do a time of devotion. There's some announcements, and then they start working on the food, unloading the truck, sorting the food out, and then they go through and they get to pick the food that they want as well. So instead of us saying, hey, I know you have diabetes, but here's a bunch of bread, they get to pick and choose the different things that they know how to prepare, and the things that they like.
Eat.
Yeah.
You go. There's so many questions because this is a great operation?
I just wanted to know how long their membership lasts, because you said there was a waiting list.
There's a waiting list, and a lot of the folks, they'll just say, hey, you know, they'll end up getting jobs and different things.
Okay.
We've had a lot of our folks that were placed, and they say, hey, I don't need this anymore. I want you to open up the spot for somebody else.
Okay.
Or if somebody doesn't show up for X amount of times, then that spot automatically opens up, and we bring it to
So how many days a month is this open?
So we do every Wednesday of the month. So we have 4 food co-ops that have 40 families in each one.
Wow.
So the head of household comes in, and so it's 100, you know, roughly 160 families that are participants.
That's great.
And we've had a huge turnover, and which is exciting, because that means that the people are getting jobs and they no longer need us.
Right.
People are getting housed that were homeless. The return has been worth the investment. It's been absolutely amazing. So
you mentioned that you help them with the job training, and so tell us about the components that go into that. I believe the shack, the bicycles.
The bicycles, we have the wood shop.
Okay, so tell us about all that.
Yeah, so we have a couple of different areas, and what we do is we train people in different industries, and then we traverse them to mainstream marketplace. So we have folks that we basically have like our outlets. We have folks that are willing to take some of the folks that we are training and put them into mainstream marketplace. We have about 20 restaurants in town. We have Weaver Lumber in town, and some other places that are just willing to take our participants and say, hey, we're willing to give them a shot. So what happens is that once they get employed with the other agency, they continue to be co-employed with us so that we can teach them job retention. It's one thing to get a job, but it's another thing to actually be able to stay there. And so we teach them that, and it's everything we do is for the long haul. So nothing is short and quick. It's not acute. You know, we're trying to address you know, chronic poverty and identify the things that are creating it and technically sustaining their poverty, and trying to figure out outlets. So
right.
Now, do people who come into the program, do they need to be clean, like, or can they be, if they're having some sort of drug addiction or anything like that, how does that work if someone comes to you and they have these other issues?
Some of them have their issues and stuff, and we say, hey, here's this organization that's offering you know, this for your situation. And so we do a lot of wraparound services. One of the big things that I've wanted to do in the community was figure out how do we do wraparound services in the community, because when I first came into doing this, there was like all these organizations that were all doing the same thing, and I'm like, why are you down the street doing the same thing that I'm doing?
Right.
And so you asked about like how the outlets, and so like one of the things is like with the Good News Rescue Mission, we partner with them with our job training. So the folks that are finishing the programs there, like one of the problems that have existed was that let's say, so Johnny is finishing the program and Johnny hasn't found a job. Well, Johnny ends up, you know, resorting back to some of the things that he was doing because he didn't get plugged in. So what we're trying to do now is we're taking the folks that are finishing the programs over there and traversing them into our organization where it's a dual partnership, so they're still continuing to do all the things that they were doing there, and then we are finding employment and then traversing them in a mainstream marketplace.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, how do you sustain yourself?
Very carefully. A lot of the things that we do are self-sustainable. The shack created sustainability from day one, because it's not a traditional restaurant. We're not paying, you know, thousands of dollars for a building. We are able to sustain. So we've actually grown. We've doubled our income in the last year, thanks to the Stirring Church, who's given us the venue, and the venue has been fantastic. More people want to come because it's a little bit of a nicer venue, and so we've been able to employ twice as many people now.
So what is the Shack?
The Shack is a nonprofit restaurant that it's a pop-up restaurant where we train people in the food industry, everything from executive chefs to sous chefs to bussers, dishwashers, etc. And then they end up working in that industry because there's so many restaurants in town. It's easy to traverse in the mainstream marketplace.
So when is that open? When is the Shack open?
The Shack is on the third Sundays of each month, and so it's at the Stirring at 2250 Churn Creek Road, and yeah, it's great. We're trying to expand on that now.
So the third Sunday of the month, what hours are you open?
It's 10:30 to 2.
Okay.
10:30
So for lunch.
Yep, for lunch.
Because I was thinking, am I going to show up in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's lunch.
Yeah. So and it's not like when you're typical, like, you know, nonprofit. Sometimes they'll do like a spaghetti 30 feet. It's legit. I mean, the food is unbelievable. I mean, we have an executive chef back there training our folks right now.
And tell us what type of executive chefs you've had come through to help train these people.
We've had folks, we've had one guy that was actually training our folks from the Kansas City Royals. He came over, he was executive chef there for the team, and he came in and trained some folks for us. We have an executive chef right now that's from a local place that's training our folks as well. And so it's nice.
So we got the shack that's generating revenue, and then what's Life Cycles?
Life Cycles is our bike shop where we have a full-on legitimate bike shop. We have people come in and bring in their bikes to be repaired. We do low-cost to no-cost repairs depending on what the situation is.
Wow.
And people can bring in their bikes. We put out probably close to like 1,000 bikes a year, which is pretty wild.
That you repair and then sell, or
that we repair and sell, and then we also fix bikes up. We pick bikes up from the transfer station in town, and then we restore them. So we everything kind of has new life with what we're doing. So we go take these bikes that were discarded, we fix them back up, put them back together, and then we sell them for low cost to people in the community. Wow. Sometimes a cheap bike is better than a clunky car that's going to cost you some money. So
So
that's pretty great.
And then what about the wood shop?
The wood shop, it's another one of them. We have a lot of little fingers that come out in order to sustain ourselves. The wood shop is, we do a lot of reclaimed furniture, so you can go to a lot of different restaurants and businesses in town and see a lot of our furniture. So we tear down old barns and buildings, and then we do reclaimed tables, bars for.
So you're creating new furniture,
correct,
out of remnants, so to speak.
Yeah.
These old barns.
Wow.
Yeah, there's places like Cinders has our furniture in town. There's a lot of places.
Anyone can go in and buy that furniture.
Yeah. And so one of the great things is that instead of the poor needing something from the wealthy, now that we have people coming in because they need something from the poor. So there's that is a fantastic reclaimed table that I don't want to pay $2,000 for from this other organization, but I would love to buy it from you. We've done Mosley Cellars, a bunch of just giant venues there.
Wow. So, okay, where are all these things located, and how can people find out more about Living Hope?
We are down at 1043 State Street, downtown by the Reading Library. Yep. And so our lobby hours are Monday through Thursday, 8 to noon, and then we do after-hour appointments with both clients and other folks that want to come take a look at the building. So.
Okay, so say that again one more time. Down by the library.
Down by the library, 1043 State Street.
1043 State Street. And then do you have a website?
We do. It's livinghopereading.com.
livinghopereading.com.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And you have all your different elements there on the website. So you can see this is the info on the restaurant. This is now. What if somebody wanted to hire your people to come in and do like a special catered event? Do you do that?
Give us a call and we'll discuss what the venue looks like and how many people, and we'll see if we can take care of that.
Oh. That would be neat. That's another great resource.
You're actually providing jobs when you do that.
Correct.
Right. I mean, I think that's the impressive part. Is
right.
That you're actually
from people who otherwise would not be contributing to our community.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's easy. It's easy to help too. So you come in, you eat. You come in, you get a bike. It's not just a.
It's a win-win for everyone. We love these kind of stories. Yeah, I'm so glad you came on, Mike.
Thanks for having me,
From Living Hope Ministries, you can go to livinghopereading.com for more information if you'd like to contribute, if you'd like to help, if you'd like to hire. Any of those ways, right?
Absolutely.
You won't say no.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm so glad you came on. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Great to hear about it. We're going to take a quick break and be right back with the second half, so don't go away.
Hi, and we are back, and today we're talking to Michelle Ashlee, and she is the counselor for Red Bluff High School, and Mandy Sharp, and she is the Director of Social Services of Tehama County. And they both have a mouthful for titles.
Yes, they do.
They're here with the Tehama Poverty Awareness Project. So very interested to hear how these two entities coming together to make this happen. So tell us
What is the Tehama Poverty Awareness Project?
Yes, thank you, Christy.
Well, we have 2 different tracks happening at the same time, and actually we didn't know that when either of us were starting our planning. Part of my job is to work with a board of directors called the Tripartite Board for the Community Action Agency, and we do a community needs assessment every 2 years on poverty issues. And this board identified that one of the unmet poverty issues in the county is that people aren't actually aware of who's poor and what poverty means, how that manifests itself in terms of crime, domestic violence, food needs, housing, all kinds of transportation, other issues that relate to poverty. At the same time, another board I'm a part of, administrative oversight team, also identified in their planning session that they would like to do some more enhanced, increased awareness about the issues of poverty in Tehama County. So those 2 unrelated boards came together and did planning sessions on activities that could be done in the county that would bring an awareness level to people about what is poverty and how does it affect the citizens. And part of our board that came together to do the planning knew about Michelle's project and said, you should really talk to the schools because they're doing something too at the same time. So we got together and decided, rather than having 2 separate things happening, how could we make more out of the awareness? That's the whole point, by combining the efforts of both the Red Bluff High School project and the Community Action Project in Tehama County.
So what is your, just so we can get a clear understanding, what is your project that you were starting?
So at Red Bluff High School we have what's called a parent partnership team, and this was developed a couple of years ago. We wanted to kind of bridge the gap that sometimes exists between parents and community being involved with our school, and wanted to find ways to get parents in the community more involved with what we have going on. And so at the end of last year when we were goal planning, we thought of doing a book in common, so where students and staff and parents and community all read the same book. And so when we started looking at books, we wanted it relevant to our community and our population of our students, and we felt, you know, overwhelmingly an issue that we all deal with on a daily basis is the poverty in Tehama County. And so we came across the book The Glass Castle, which is a memoir. Yeah, it's hard to put down, so it's a great choice. They had it in both English and Spanish versions, we jumped on board with that. And then one of the parents on the parent partnership team is, I believe, on one of the boards that Mandy was talking about. She said, you guys have to get together because what you're planning and what they're planning all goes hand in hand. So it was kind of, it was a great meeting when we sat down. It was so exciting to see what we could collaborate on.
So how is the book about poverty? I'm sorry, I'm a huge reader, but I haven't read that book, so I don't know what it's about.
So it's a memoir of a daughter of parents who are kind of choosing to live a homeless lifestyle, and they wouldn't call themselves you know, in need. I think they say they just have a cash flow issue, but it's quite intense, the life and the childhood of these siblings, and so it kind of just takes you through her childhood and how she deals with accepting her parents. And
so that's so interesting, because then you have kids in your program who are in the same situation, maybe not by choice. Obviously, the children rarely have a choice in this, right? They're they're the victims, if you will. So is your whole point just to raise awareness, or what's your goal for this project?
Well, on our side of it, the Community Action Agency, the county-wide projects the goal is to bring awareness, and with each and every activity that we're doing, we're giving people a way to contribute, to help, to assist, to learn more. And so there's always a call to action at the end of each of the activities.
What are the activities?
So the first one happened in August, and it was a Facebook drive similar to the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, which was eat a meal on a food stamp diet, where we asked people to make a meal that only used food stamp CalFresh eligible food, and that they could calculate how much that was, take a picture of it, and share it and challenge it with someone else.
That is a great idea.
And it was a single meal, and we were on the Red Bluff Needs Facebook as the top post for multiple days in a row. We had thousands of hits on our Facebook page for Community Action, and it was surprising how many people contributed solutions. This is how you can make food at a lower cost. This is what I do to prepare. This is how I buy in bulk. So we really expected it to be an awareness, and it ended up being a community community building project.
Well, because you get a lot of different perspectives. You get people who maybe want to eat healthy, seeing how hard that might be, because everyone talks about eat healthy, and that stuff's really expensive.
And it really did combine people who are in need, who are on CalFresh benefits now, as well as an awareness of just people who want to eat, you know, less expensively and in a healthy way.
What a great idea.
It was a great project. That was our first project. Our second project is the Poverty A to Z exhibit. This is an exhibit coming to us from Kansas, and it's an exhibit that's gone across the United States. We're putting this up in multiple sites around the county starting in November. Michelle's opening up Red Bluff High School for our unveiling of the Poverty A to Z art exhibit, and A to Z in that each letter of the alphabet is represented with some information.
About poverty.
Exactly.
It's very interactive.
It's an interactive project.
At the high school, and where else will it be?
We have other sites throughout the county that will be able to, people will be able to check on our website, which I'll tell you the URL later, but the sites are the Tehama County Museum, the Red Bluff High School. We're expecting to have some of the different county agencies host it. So we have several sites around the county that will be taking it for a period of time so they can move throughout the county to culminate in March at our big event, which will be a poverty symposium. And it will also be on exhibit at that location too.
Now, so I have two questions. First, I would like to know, how are you getting the kids involved? And then on top of that, I'd like to know how you're getting things funded for bringing an exhibit here from Kansas. I mean, exhibits are very, very expensive. So
how do we do
that? Have at it, guys.
Community action agencies are a network across the United States. Our mission is to end poverty. We've been around since 1964, and there's about 1,000 of us covering 99% of the counties in the United States. This is a community action agency art exhibit. So in our case, basically, if we can get it shipped here, they're going to let us have it. So it's part of the fact that we're in a partnership and a network. And so that's fantastic. As far as the symposium is concerned in March, we're encouraging people who wouldn't necessarily be involved in poverty projects to come, because there'll be a poverty simulation. It's an activity where people can kind of internalize the effects of poverty, and then we're going to have some great speakers there, and also call to action. How can people help in our community in a proactive way? Some of the new projects that are helping, that are changing things, they can learn more about that. That is an expense, and Rolling Hills Casino has helped us with some of the facilities. They're doing a pledge with some of the meals and covering some of our costs.
Oh, good. And that's a beautiful facility.
Yeah,
really nice. And that's in March.
That'll be in March, at the end of March.
Checking your website to get data on that.
And then how are you getting the kids involved?
So we have the book reading plan, so that's our biggest thing. So we were able to purchase over 500 copies of the book through grants we received from the Rolling Hills Education Foundation and then from the Tehama County Arts Council. So we're very fortunate to receive those grants. So we have classroom sets of the books for the students to read as they're silent reading. Some of the teachers are making the students read it as a class or reading it out loud to the students, which is really great.
To see how they would,
and
how you would know if they actually read the book.
And then we have given out free copies to parents and encourage them to pass it on, anyone in the community. So we're kind of making sure everyone can have access to it. The library is partnered with us, the local Tehama County Library, and they have copies as well. So we have a reading plan and then events throughout the year. So for example, when we house the A through Z poverty installation, we're also doing a student poverty awareness art contest.
Oh, that's
that
great.
Same month. So we'll house the student artwork at the same time as the art installation. So just little events to keep the students and parents engaged, as long as promoting what the county is doing and getting the word out for their events as well. So it's been
so
great.
It's good that it seems like it's more than just awareness. It's also contributing to help it not stop poverty, but to help alleviate some of the difficulties that you find yourself in when you have no means.
Exactly, and really in a county like Tehama, the resources are very, very limited, but the people are very, very great, and they want to help their fellow residents of the county. The issue so often is that they may not realize that the person that they sit next to in school, in church, at work, may be a person who is in poverty.
Wow.
We have a very high poverty rate. It's higher than the state average, higher than Shasta County's average. We have a very high poverty rate among children, especially Hispanic children. It's a very high, more than 1 in 3 children is below the poverty rate.
Wow.
So it's really important that we're teaming with education, because that's a huge part of the solution. And by helping people become aware of what they can do and who it is that needs the help, we do think we can reduce the effects of poverty in the county in a sustainable way.
Well, I love how Living Hope is doing that sustainable that we saw earlier, and it'll be awesome if they connect with you guys
that
for
would be
Tehama,
amazing,
because that's part of it, is not just talking about the poverty, but saying, okay, here's some ways that you can work your way out of poverty, and we're going to help you do this. You know, you take your steps, but we're going to help you. Which
and the
is
community
exciting as a community.
Yeah, because in the community, if they have awareness and they can help guide some people to, you know, if there is somebody sitting next to you, like, hey, go work at the wood shop, or come, you know.
And I love what you're doing, because I think you're also building empathy in the community for what it feels like, and sometimes that's hard if you've never known it.
And I think that's
to have
the point
that
of the book.
empathy, which it sounds like I'm gonna have to get that book.
Yes, you will.
I love to read, so I can't believe I don't have that book yet.
It's hard to put
so because then it builds empathy, so then they're more sensitive to it, right? And then it just helps ameliorate the symptoms as you go, because you're more tuned in.
Yeah, and that's what we so want for the students, especially, just to be more aware and sensitive and compassionate. And our first project has been a cold weather clothing drive. And so, you know, we're trying to get the students to read and then take action.
Oh, good.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to figure out, like, what are the students actually doing? Because, you know, yes, they can be aware, but, you know, when you're a kid, you're in your bubble. So
Oh, you guys, thank you so much for coming. Quickly, what's the website they can get information on? We're running out of time.
They can go to TehamaCountyCAA.org or dial 211 in Tehama County for resource information.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that before. 211, dial 211 in Tehama County. Thanks for watching the forum. We are so excited that you were here with us today. Hope you've been inspired, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week when we come back with a whole new show. Take care, and thank you.